Travis Scott is no. Did you guys know that Travis Scott did not write Sicko Mode and a lot of the songs that were on his Astro World album? And while that might blow a lot of people away, it doesn't really blow me away because Travis Scott has never really been known as a lyricist. So I'll back up. 2 reference songs leaked a few weeks ago, which showed Saha the Prince. If you guys know anything about Saha, lyrical beast, I consider him a god MC. Homeboy is an impeccable lyricist. Probably one of the better ones I've heard in a long ass time. He actually was on those reference tracks delivering the same verses that Travis Scott put out on Sicko Mode, and then also the other song, Coffee Bean. You guys remember that boom bap joint? The last song, if I'm not mistaken, that was on Astro World. So those were the 2 that leaked. It was a lot of uproar, a lot of conversation being sparked about, why did that happen? Are you okay with Travis Scott having a ghostwriter? Blah, 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 blah. Then Drake started getting thrown into this. What do you think about this, man?
You know what's funny? Remember a couple months, maybe a couple years ago, I told you that there's that song on Cruel Summer that has Travis Scott and Sci-Hi the Prince. And you did not know. You were like, yo, I didn't know Travis Scott was on that song. Yeah, it was Travis Scott and Sci-Hi the Prince. They sounded nearly identical. So I knew that they messed with each other. And maybe because they sound so identical, Travis Scott saw him as a resource, To me, Travis's work is very complex. It's very intricate. Like if you listen to Astro World, I would not be surprised if Travis Scott got help on all of the songs. Like those are not like just your everyday, just simple hip hop songs. They're very intricate. Like Stop Trying to Play God Alone. That song alone, do you know that there's no way one human being came up with that song? It's way too complex. But I will say this. Coffee Bean, is that what the song called? Coffee Bean?
Yeah, Coffee Bean.
Coffee Bean. To me, he got personal on that song. Like he's actually talking about dating Kylie Jenner and like having to meet parents. I find it a problem a little bit when somebody else tells your story. Like you had to get somebody else to write your story. Like for instance, Usher, I always go back to Confessions. Usher is talking about confessions, but Jermaine Dupri wrote the song. Like that to me is always weird. But like I said, I don't really have an issue with it. And so,
I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I think this whole topic, it brings up old wounds for people because there's no consistency when this topic of ghostwriters comes up, ghostwriting comes up. I see so many inconsistencies and people not keeping the same energy. It's alarming. I'm gonna just be 100% honest with you. On some instances, people have a problem with it, and sometimes they don't. Here's the argument I normally hear from people when they say I don't have a problem with it. It exists for people like Travis Scott, who never consider themselves a lyricist, right? Like he doesn't come out and say, I'm trying to be the best rapper in the game. He doesn't come out and try to like bar you up randomly with a freestyle, just giving you metaphor bars, trying to prove. Usually when people do that, what Travis Scott does, if it comes out that they have ghostwriters, it seems like people don't have a problem with it. However, on the other hand, when you got somebody like Drake, who's positioned himself throughout his entire career, really, as a guy who's trying to become the best rapper that he could possibly be, and even going a step further, trying to be the best ever. He's made mentions within his music. I'm trying to be better than this person. I'm trying to be better than this person. it seems like that's when people have a problem with it. And so when for Travis's sake, I really don't care. To be honest with you, I've started to not care at all. I've gotten to that point. I don't really care anymore who has a ghostwriter and who doesn't.
I'll go a step further.
I don't.
I'll go a step further.
I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. I used to kind of care, but then I got to the point where, again, I saw so many inconsistencies and just people just not keeping the same energy. That I'm like, yo, I'm not wasting my time having this debate anymore if we're not even agreeing on the premise of this discussion. Therefore, I don't give a fuck who has a ghostwriter. I promise you, if somebody came out and said Jay-Z has a ghostwriter, while that might change my perspective as far as how I perceive Jay-Z's music over the course of his history, I'm not sure if that's going to not allow me to anoint him and say Homeboy is one of the best to ever do it, because what I heard with my own ears told me that. I think there's a difference between who wrote it and who delivered it. Delivery is a whole nother part of this conversation that nobody wants to talk about. Same thing with Travis Scott. Travis Scott's delivery is part of the reason why people love Travis Scott. It's his style. It's his style.
Well, I mean,
so I don't care. I don't care.
I was going to say I would go a step further. I actually think that's something that needs to be applauded. Like, for me, you can't have it both ways. You can't sit there and be like, yo, this person did not write their lyrics. They did not write their lyrics, but then you want them to give you the best product possible. Like, in my opinion, if it takes more people, more opinions, more people's hands in the music to bring out a product that is better, you should appreciate the person willing to do that. That's harder. That's harder than to just hurl out your own thoughts into great music. It's harder to be able to work with multiple people and put people in places that they need to succeed to come up with music. That's more difficult. And for me, like I said, from the moment I listened to Astroworld, if you are somebody that breaks down music like we do, it is impossible for one person to come out with a body of work like Astroworld. Go back and listen to it. It is very intricate. And that's why we love it so much, because it is a body of work that is not your average body of work. I'm not. Let's not be stupid. Let's not be blind. It takes a lot of people to conceive something like that. Just like your favorite Beyonce. Newsflash: if you go and look, which by the way, on Astroworld, Sci-Hi the Prince gets credit. His name is in the credit. It's just that we don't have CDs anymore where you can go look in the booklets and see who wrote this song, who wrote that. Sci-Hi the Prince gets credit. And newsflash for you guys that love Beyonce. I love Beyonce. We all love Beyonce. Beyonce makes intricate body of works too. Well, guess what? If you look in the credits, you're going to see Migos. You're going to see Sway Lee. You're going to see all types of people were involved in the making of her music. So that's something that you got to appreciate. That's something that that should not be a negative connotation at all. Unless, like you said, in your situation where Drake claims he wants to be the best. If you want to be the best, that makes no sense. You need to write your own stuff in terms of raps. But if Drake calls on people for, like, to help make the music better, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, and going back to Drake, even Quentin Miller, if you guys remember that situation, Quentin Miller, he was actually in the credits on that album.
Yes.
That ultimately caused that whole stir up on Drake and whatnot. But it's just so weird. This conversation is so deep, because even the examples you gave about Beyonce, you even talked about Usher, right? Even in that, there's a difference of opinion as far as how songwriting, that's what I'll call it. I'll call it songwriting. How songwriting is perceived when it comes from R&B versus rap. To me, if you're expressing your opinion artistically, telling your story, whether you're singing or rapping, it's still your story. So why is there so much of an uproar when we're talking about rap versus singing? Like, that's a perplexing conversation to me that I never seem to really understand why there's a big difference. People talk about, oh, it's bold, but it's rap. Okay, it's an art form. It's an expression. Singing is also one.
Rap is competitive. Like, at the end of the day, rap is competitive. And so if my competitor, we're going one-on-one, like, because, you know, we tend to put top 5 lists and who's better than who. If Jay-Z is writing his own stuff, but then Jay-Z has to battle Drake, who is actually getting help in this competitive field that they're in, then I get it. It's not fair. It's not a fair fight.
But I'll put it like this. While I agree with you when you say rap is competitive, I think the origins of rap started off of that. It started from the competition aspect, people battling, right? Beatboxing, people breakdancing, right? It started from that. I feel like where rap is now, it's not competitive like that. Like it once was. Like, people don't give a fuck as much as they did. Everybody's just out here doing their own thing. So it just seems like the essence of rap, that what you're talking about, is fading. But there's people who are trying to hang on to that. And I appreciate that. Those are the purists. Those are the people. And a part of me feels that way too. Like, I like that as well. I just feel like if y'all are going to forgive Drake, because I do feel like while Drake has a knock on his career for that, we are going to forget about that in the grand scheme of things. We appreciate Drake. We're never probably going to consider him the best to ever do it because of something that came out like that. However, he's still going to be appreciated and regarded as somebody who is a very talented and a legend at that.
I'm gonna put it this way: he better be appreciated, because, like I said,
he has to.
As a listener, you have to appreciate somebody that's trying to tap into their greatness. You gotta the thing is, you know, we all love Michael Jordan. I love Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's great. Michael Jordan did not become great until his teammates. He got better teammates around him. Like, there's always that argument about, oh, well, nobody had teammates like Michael Jordan. Yeah, I agree. But at the end of the day, you got to appreciate Michael Jordan's ability to play with other good players and even make them better. Like, in Travis Scott's case, like, he is giving opportunities to these other good players in hip hop for a great chance to shine, and then also is making him a better artist. So I just don't see how that's an issue. But I will say this, you know, how important is image in hip hop? How important is image? Because I really don't feel like Sci-Hi the Prince, people care about Sci-Hi the Prince. Let's be real. And what is it? If Sci-Hi the Prince is capable of making something like Sicko Mode, there is only one reason why he is not popping, and that is his image or his delivery.
Yeah, it's a combination. It's a combination of those.
I mean, because you know, the thing is, for me with Quentin Miller, he rapped Drake's what Drake rapped on the songs. He rapped it well, but he didn't have that it factor. Drake has that it factor. And so
yep.
It literally just comes down to that sometimes. And that's
a fact.
Crazy.
That's a fact. But see, and we can end on that. Right. Style, delivery, and image. Those are all like wrapped in, because you can have the style, you can have the look, but you can't have the style and presence on the song. Like, it's a lot that goes into it. It's hard to measure, really. That's why people have it and some people don't.
Possible to measure.